In this episode, we turn our attention to what happens after detection and containment begin, because stopping an attacker is only part of the responsibility. Understanding what happened and proving it happened requires reliable evidence. Cloud environments generate enormous amounts of activity data, configuration records, and identity logs, but those records are only valuable if they are preserved correctly. If evidence is altered, deleted, or mishandled during response, the organization may lose the ability to reconstruct events accurately. Reliable investigations depend on disciplined evidence handling, not guesswork or memory. In cloud settings, preservation often involves careful log retention, access control, and documented procedures rather than physical disk imaging. The goal here is to understand how to maintain integrity, reliability, and defensibility in a digital, distributed environment. Before we continue, a quick note. This audio course is a companion to our course companion books. The first book is about the exam and provides detailed information on how to pass it best. The second book is a Kindle-only ebook that contains 1,000 flashcards that can be used on your mobile device or Kindle. Check them both out at cyber.author.me in the Bare Metal Study Guide series. Cloud evidence is different from traditional on-premises evidence because it is highly centralized, API-driven, and often ephemeral. Instead of collecting physical hardware, investigators rely on audit logs, configuration histories, identity events, and service telemetry. Many cloud services automatically record administrative actions, permission changes, and resource modifications, but retention settings determine how long those logs remain available. If logging was not enabled or retention was too short, critical evidence may already be gone by the time an incident is discovered. This reality underscores the importance of enabling logging before an incident occurs. You cannot preserve what was never recorded. Integrity is the foundation of reliable evidence. In cloud environments, integrity often means ensuring that logs are stored in locations where attackers cannot easily modify or delete them. If compromised identities retain the ability to erase activity records, the attacker can obscure their tracks. To prevent this, logging systems should be configured so that access to modify or delete logs is tightly restricted. Separation of duties is especially important, ensuring that administrators of operational systems are not automatically able to alter audit records. By protecting the integrity of logs, you preserve trust in the investigative process. Another key concept is immutability, which means making evidence tamper-resistant after it is recorded. Many cloud platforms offer mechanisms to prevent modification or deletion of stored data for a defined retention period. Applying these controls to log storage strengthens defensibility because it demonstrates that evidence was not altered post-incident. Immutability also protects against insider threats or compromised accounts attempting to erase traces of wrongdoing. When evidence is immutable, investigators can rely on it with greater confidence. This principle is central to maintaining credibility in both internal reviews and potential legal proceedings. Chain of custody, while often associated with physical evidence, remains relevant in cloud investigations. Even though logs are digital, you must document who accessed them, when they were exported, and how they were handled. Without documentation, it becomes difficult to demonstrate that evidence remained unaltered during analysis. Clear procedures for exporting, storing, and sharing logs reduce ambiguity and support defensibility. Documentation does not need to be complicated, but it must be consistent. Maintaining a simple, traceable record of evidence handling strengthens investigative integrity. Time synchronization is another essential element of reliable cloud evidence. Cloud services operate across distributed systems, and accurate timestamps are critical for reconstructing event sequences. If logs from different services are not aligned to consistent time sources, investigators may misinterpret cause and effect. Ensuring that time settings are standardized across systems supports accurate timeline reconstruction. During investigation, correlating events across identity logs, network activity, and configuration changes depends on precise timing. Even small discrepancies can create confusion about the order of actions. Scope preservation is equally important, because investigators must capture evidence before containment or remediation alters the environment. For example, if a compromised resource is immediately deleted without recording its configuration and recent activity, key details may be lost. A disciplined response captures relevant configuration states, access lists, and recent changes before making irreversible modifications. This does not mean delaying containment unnecessarily, but it does require thoughtful sequencing. Evidence capture and containment should proceed in parallel where possible, not in opposition. Cloud environments also generate metadata that can provide valuable context during investigation. Information about who created a resource, when it was modified, and from which identity it was accessed can reveal escalation patterns. This metadata may not appear dramatic, but it often forms the backbone of incident reconstruction. Preserving configuration snapshots and change histories ensures that this contextual information remains available. Investigations are rarely solved by a single log entry. They rely on assembling many small data points into a coherent narrative. Preserving metadata strengthens that narrative. Another important consideration is access control during investigation. Once evidence is identified, access to it should be limited to authorized investigators to prevent accidental alteration or disclosure. Even well-intentioned team members can unintentionally compromise evidence integrity by modifying settings or exploring systems without coordination. Clearly defining investigative roles reduces confusion and preserves reliability. This disciplined access model mirrors the same identity control principles used in normal cloud operations. Consistency in control strengthens both operations and investigations. Encryption plays a supporting role in evidence preservation by protecting log data from unauthorized access during storage and transmission. Sensitive logs may contain personal data, internal architecture details, or confidential information. Encrypting evidence ensures that only authorized personnel can review it, even if storage systems are compromised. Encryption also demonstrates due diligence in protecting investigative materials. While encryption does not guarantee integrity alone, it contributes to overall defensibility. Retention policies must balance operational cost with investigative necessity. Retaining logs for too short a period may prevent discovery of slow-moving attacks, while retaining them indefinitely may increase storage costs and regulatory complexity. Organizations should define retention durations based on risk, regulatory requirements, and historical incident patterns. Consistent retention ensures that when an investigation begins, relevant data remains accessible. Arbitrary or inconsistent retention weakens investigative capability. Preserving cloud evidence also involves resisting the temptation to jump to conclusions prematurely. Reliable investigations require patience and methodical analysis. Altering systems aggressively without first documenting their state can create blind spots. Cloud environments allow rapid change, but that speed should not override investigative discipline. Acting calmly ensures that evidence remains intact and trustworthy. Ultimately, preserving cloud evidence correctly ensures that investigations remain reliable, defensible, and actionable. Integrity, immutability, documented handling, synchronized timing, scope capture, controlled access, encryption, and thoughtful retention all contribute to a trustworthy process. On the exam, you may face scenario questions that require choosing actions that protect evidence while responding to incidents. In real environments, disciplined preservation strengthens accountability and continuous improvement. When evidence is reliable, lessons learned are accurate, and defenses can evolve with confidence rather than speculation.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.